wave to
Good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for your patience. Madam Clerk, it's 7:06. We'll call the meeting to order.
Okay. Mayor Troopman,
Here.
Vice Mayor Tudor, Commissioner Butte,
here.
Commissioner Johnson Sadella, here. Commissioner Ross,
Here.
Are there any additional withdrawals to the agenda for this particular portion of the agenda? None having. I'm going to go ahead and read a proclamation for Veterans Day.
Pledge.
Yeah, we could have a pledge. That would be helpful.
Then I have pledge on this one.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everybody wouldn't mind, I'm going to ask everybody to remain standing for just a moment. I'd like to read something. Thank you. Once again, I must sadly ask you to stand for a moment of silence for all those who have been senselessly murdered and injured recently. 11 members were killed and 6 injured from the mass shootings of the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, targeting those of the Jewish faith. 15 shot, 2 fatally in Chicago, and the recent weekend gun violence. Yesterday's fatal shooting of 12 individuals in a bar in California. I'm not even sure if I have a full accounting of all of our recent incidences of gun violence. The first responders who were injured and those who risk their life regularly for us on a daily basis. Please bow your heads for a moment of silence and ponder what we can do as a society to minimize these acts of horror. Thank you. I'd like to go ahead and read a proclamation for Veterans Day unless there's any additional withdrawals or deletions from the agenda.
Are we going to do the budget item first?
You know what? I'm going to humbly apologize. There's a reason why I messed up. I'm on the wrong agenda. There are 2 for this evening. Attorney Herron, if you'd go ahead and read the resolution, thank you.
Yes, Madam Mayor. We're here on the second budget, or rehearing meeting. It's resolution number 2018-33. If you'll indulge me, I'm going to read the entire resolution into the record, so it's a matter of record. It is a resolution of the Village Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, setting forth the correct fiscal year 2018-2019 village real and personal property taxable value and proposed tax levy, ratifying the adoption of ordinances number 2018-05 and 2018-06, establishing the village's 2018-2019 millage rate, and adopting the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget and providing for an effective date. Whereas in accordance with section 200.065 Florida statutes, the Village of Biscayne Park village properly held 2 public hearings to set the fiscal year 2018-2019 millage rate and adopt the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget. And whereas the Florida Department of Revenue subsequently determined and notified the village that its statutorily required budget summary and notice of proposed tax increase advertisements were incorrect because the village's proposed tax value of real and personal property and corresponding property tax levy were understated respectively. A copy of the trim certification letter from the Florida Department of Revenue is attached to this exhibit, to this resolution as Exhibit A, whereas Section 200.065.13 Florida statute allows the village to correct these statutory deficiencies by re-advertising the correct budget summary and notice of proposed tax increase advertisements and reholding the hearing at which the village proposed taxable value of real and personal property and corresponding tax levy are announced. Whereas the village has re-advertised the corrected statutorily required budget summary and notice of proposed tax increase along with a new hearing date, location, and time. A copy of the corrected advertisement is attached here to as Exhibit B. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Village Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, that Section 1, the foregoing whereas clauses are true and correct and hereby ratified and confirmed by the Village Commission. Section 2, is required by Section 265 Florida statutes, the village hereby announces the proposed village taxable value of real and personal property for fiscal year 2018-2019 is $217,723,560, and further announces the corresponding proposed tax levy for fiscal year 2018-2019 is $2,111,919. Furthermore, the village ratifies the adoption of ordinance number 2018-05 and 2018-06, setting the village millage rate for fiscal year 2018-2019 at 9.70 mils per each $1,000 of assessed value, which is 11.63% greater than the rolled back rate of 8.6898 mils, and adopting the village's fiscal year 2018-2019 budget. Section 3, this resolution shall become effective upon adoption. Mayor, as stated in the agenda memo, as well as the resolution itself, after the statutorily required budget adoption process we previously went through, the Florida Department of Revenue determined that the advertisements and notices that were provided in the Miami Herald with respect to what is identified in Florida statutes as the budget summary and notice of proposed tax increase were incorrect, and that we had to take remedial steps to correct those deficiencies, and that this resolution would do so. We have communicated extensively with the Department of Revenue with respect to this issue, making sure, one, that the advertisements that had to be placed were correct. They've indicated that they are. That this resolution is the only item that we need to do to take the remedial steps to correct those deficiencies in addition to the re-advertisement, and they've indicated that is in fact the case, and that subject to adoption of this resolution after public hearing, we will have corrected the deficiency and be, for lack of a better description, legal, and be entitled to that additional percentage of rollback rate that will be dispersed to us. I want to make it absolutely clear, based upon my conversations with the Department of Revenue, that to the extent that this commission wishes to modify its budget to account for those proceeds on any additional expenditures, you would have to go through the normal process that is otherwise required by both your charter, your code, and state law, which is to advertise public hearings to amend the ordinance. Otherwise, you're not changing the budget that has already been adopted, nor are you changing the millage rate that has previously been adopted. And those ordinances were, in fact, properly advertised and held, and that, again, was been confirmed by the Department of Revenue because I very specifically asked them that question to make sure that we are taking all the steps necessary to make sure that we'll get a clean a corrected determination of compliance, and they've again indicated that by adoption of this resolution we will comply with state law and be in compliance with all of their state requirements. With that said, prior to tonight's hearing, it was determined, in speaking with the clerk and with the manager, that the posting of this agenda in accordance with our own rules and regulations and state law wasn't done in a timely fashion. So as a result of that issue and the fact that this resolution must be adopted within between 2 and 5 days of the advertisements that were run this past Sunday, we are going to have a special call meeting tomorrow, which the notice has already gone out, and you all have been advised by the manager of that request, in order to meet the statutory requirement of having this resolution adopted within 2 to 5 days. With that said, I think it would be prudent for this commission to open up the item for public discussion to the extent that there are members of the public here tonight that want to speak to this issue, so they have an opportunity, so they don't have to come back tomorrow. And then we'll set this matter for a time certain and date, which is tomorrow. And upon adoption of the resolution tomorrow night, we will then put the package together, resubmit it to the Department of Revenue for approval by the state.
Manager, any comments?
I think the attorney covered pretty well, so.
Thank you. Okay, with that said, just to remind everybody, we're actually having 2 meetings. The first meeting of which is for the public hearing for this resolution. At that point, the public comments, the floor will be open to public comments specific to this resolution. After that, we will take an adjournment and a break for approximately 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll do the continuance as was spoken about. Those who want to come back tomorrow and comment again, we will allow that to happen. If you have a desire to do so. With that in mind, could you please come up for public comments? Do we have to do the swearing on as well, sir? No? Okay. Please state your name and address as well.
Chuck Ross, 11166 Griffin Boulevard. So I think I'm probably the reason that you're not having the meeting tonight, because I saw that it wasn't posted on Village Hall. Somebody must have seen me and noted that I saw it wasn't there. And, you know, I was going to say that I don't see how we could have a meeting tonight since it wasn't posted. And apparently you did the right thing. That's good. I did want to talk about having proper notice of meetings, but I think I'll keep that for the regular meeting tonight. There were a couple of issues I noticed with the way it was advertised. The new advertisement shows a different revenue amount and a different expenditure amount than the budget that was adopted. And I don't understand how we can now just, I think what we're going to have to do, in other words, is, well, I think we're going to have to do an amended budget, the way I see it, because the 95% of the amount budgeted is not the correct amount based on the adjusted revenue that's now been reflected in the new advertisement. And those Florida statutes, Florida statutes requires each taxing authority in calculating the millage to use not less than 95% of the taxable value of the property appraiser certified. So now the new taxable value of the property appraiser has certified, that we have advertised as $2,006,000. I'll give you the exact number. It's $2,006,324. What we budgeted was $1,991,165. So we have about a $15,000 difference in what we approved as a budget. And now what we have in the advertisement doesn't agree with what we passed as the final budget, which actually the final budget that I'm referring to, I've never seen. It has not been posted yet anywhere. Because I know we made some amendments in the second budget hearing, approximately 6 or 7 amendments. We changed some things within the budget itself, but we didn't actually change the top or bottom dollar figures. So we haven't seen that final budget either. So those are my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Barbara Huell, 111th Street. I came here tonight just to hear a couple of things. I didn't even know this meeting was going to happen, or the meeting that didn't happen. I've been looking on the calendar for the past few weeks, looking for this specific meeting, and I don't think it's still up on the calendar. And now I find out that it wasn't posted correctly. The budget information, I wanted to look up something on the budget. I could not find any information. The last budget, I think, on our website is from 2016. The day before this meeting, I wrote to the clerk. The backup material was still not up. There have been so many mistakes through this period. We have wasted so much money. Even if the accountant is paying for this, there's extra time, there's an extra meeting, there's extra attorneys, there's everybody's time that is being wasted by mistakes that seem so basic. How could a meeting like this not get posted? How doesn't anything, I feel like we're going into reverse. Doesn't anybody look at these things? Do you know how much time is wasted for me having to call people? Did you see anything? I can't find it. Did you see it on your calendar? You know, it's just really becoming disgraceful. And this is with you. I'm sorry, you're in charge. and it ends with you. And everybody underneath you should be answering these questions. And I don't hear the questions being asked, frankly.
Thank you. Any other public comments? None. Closed. Attorney, if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, the last speaker, I really can't necessarily address those. Those are not necessarily a legal issue, but with respect to the comments about the budget and how we're doing this, I was very specific in my communications with the Department of Revenue, both by email and telephone conversations, as to what steps need to be taken by the village to come into compliance with the Department of Revenue's rules as they relate to the notice of certification. We weren't in compliance. And they assured me, and they stated to me with at least the last conversation that I had, the clerk and the manager were on that phone call, that adoption of this resolution will take care of those problems. With respect to the issue of the budget, and that there's a different number that's out there on the notice or advertisement, we aren't changing the budget. Budget is what it is. The numbers that are there are what you have approved. If you want to change that, and you certainly have the right to do so, to reflect whatever may be the new projections, as well as any potential new expenditures or changing of accounts that may be recommended to you by your manager that you all may agree to undertake, and subject to your finance director agreeing that's appropriate, you will have to go through two advertised public hearings and amend that ordinance in order to then reflect whatever those new numbers may be. But by not necessarily adopting or modifying it now does not in any way, shape, or form, according to the Department of Revenue, take away from the fact that by adoption of this resolution, you will comply with their rules and regulations as they have determined.
Okay.
What you didn't do properly was place an advertisement, a notice, not that you didn't adopt your budget properly. And that's what they are asking you to remedy by adoption of this resolution.
Okay. Thank you, sir. At this point, to assure that we have no issues with being in compliance, should we go ahead and have the continuance at this point?
Yeah, I would, obviously you can discuss it amongst yourselves if you want, or you can defer or wait until tomorrow. But certainly before you move on, it would be appropriate to make a motion to continue this item to a date and time certain tomorrow, whatever that time is that you all agree collectively. And we'll pick the item back up and presumably vote on it tomorrow at the special call meeting.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion to continue the meeting to tomorrow, 7 p.m.
Date?
Tomorrow, November 9th, 2018, at 7 p.m.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Do we want to have a discussion, or do we want to go ahead and make a motion? I'd like to go ahead and vote on it. Okay, so we'll call the question.
May I comment? Okay. Could that meet a little earlier in the day than 7 o'clock? It's Friday. I have plans for dinner. And
The issue is the 24-hour notice, and it's been posted, and that seems to be a greater issue for us, correct?
Well, that's one issue. Also, I spoke to another commissioner who would not be able to make it earlier as well.
Okay, so I would like to be able to accommodate that. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to do that. So with that, we have that motion. I'm sorry, Commissioner Ross. So we have a motion and a second. Call the question. All those. Do we have to take a roll call for this? We do not, correct?
I would recommend that
Anybody
you do so.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's have a roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Troopman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Tudor, Commissioner Butte,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson Sadler,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
no.
Motion passes 3-1. Is there a motion to adjourn for this portion of this meeting?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
We are adjourned. We will come back in 10 minutes. Thank you.